Hi, this is Pammy Joe, the Lord's servant, a person who appreciates all the blessings that God has given us on earth and in my life and in my family's life and my friends' lives. Sometimes there are a lot of lessons to learn, but it helps me to frame that in all of the things that have gone right instead of a few things that seem to have gone wrong. Wrong is an opportunity for advancement in this life on earth. It's an opportunity for eternal lessons to take hold that we can do now. We do not have to wait until we're dead to learn lessons. We're here to learn now. Now, the trouble with the victim mentality is to focus in on everything that's gone wrong, to be embarrassed by it, and to hide it. That's not my style because there's no lesson in that. It's like going to elementary school and having books on your desk, but you're not allowed to open them up and learn. You're not allowed to form your letters by hand, which yes, we did in my day. You're not allowed to copy the letters and to get those breakthroughs of that's what that sound is, that's what that means, and then eventually that's what that word means. You know what it means, but you don't know how to see it and form it and share it with others. Hardships in life are lessons. There's something that we don't know how to do yet. We don't know how to navigate. God's put them in our path that we may learn from them. Oftentimes we avoid that. We go on down the road and don't want to deal with that. But it comes around on the path again when we do that because we didn't learn it yet. It usually is not what we're seeing or what we think or what we imagine that it is. It is usually different than what we're seeing. But as soon as we see it for what it really is. And instead of seeing some sort of devil or monster or animal that's going to eat us alive or a plant that's going to poison us, we see, okay, I'm walking along and I see this bush, and this bush has sharp thorns on it, and there's nothing beautiful about that bush at that point. So I stay away from it because I don't like the sharpness looks of those thorns that I know will cause me to bleed. So I'm going on down the path, and here's a bush that looks just like that bush I saw before. Only this time, it's got these little knobs, these little green knobs on the top of the branches, and they're really ugly. And I think, oh my God, that bush is not good for anything. I still don't like that bush. Please stop appearing in my path, bush. What am I doing wrong? Why doesn't someone cut you down? I don't like you. And I'm trying to avoid you, but you keep showing up. I don't get it. I'm not ready to yet. I feel frustrated. I wonder what I'm doing wrong. Why am I on this path? Why does that stupid bush have to be on this path? But I keep walking because it's that, or just lay down and give up or go back where I came from. And I'm not that fond of where I came from either. So I keep walking. Pretty quick up ahead, I see that dang bush again. And hi, Carrie. There's that bush again, but it looks a little different this time. And this time, instead of racing past it to get away from it as fast as I can, because all I saw was thorns, I look more closely at those things on the end of the branches, and I see color on them. And maybe this time, maybe the next time, I walk up to that bush, and I look down and I touch those colors, and they're soft and gentle. And I'm so drawn to them because I smell something on my nose that I reach down and I sniff that bush, and I realize it's a flower with a beautiful fragrance. And I can even allow these scissors appear out of my pocket, and I can clip that, and I can take it with me. I can even rub it on me so I smell better next time that I think I do. So it's a rose for me. It's something else for you. I thought it was a curse. It was a blessing. I just wasn't ready to see it. And by passing by it, this is what we miss. You caused the bush to bloom. Each time you passed by, the bush got more and more ready to bloom. When you were ready to look at it, you see it for what it is, and it's blooming. And that's the way souls are. We sometimes go, about a soul, and we don't want nothing to do with that person. And then we see them again the next time, and they're not quite as revulsive to us. And then we see them again, and pretty quick we see growth. We didn't know what it was. It was growth. Gross, we thought. It was growth. Pretty quick you see buds, and you see color, and you see hope, and you see something very fragrant in that soul. And you rush to embrace that fragrance. Now, the flip side of the coin. There's a trap that God's teaching me about. Getting obsessed with the bush and not moving on when we've done our part with that bush. The bush is still a friend. We can still pass it on our path later. That's what friendship is seeing someone bloom and appreciating them. But it can turn into something more. It can turn into cut the whole bush down and take it with you. Obsess over the bush and not see other things in our path. It's kind of a fine line. I watched a podcast because on YouTube it's video, and I love these two women. It was about toxic relationships. And I am capable of being a toxic relationship myself. I've done it. I've been a bush with thorns only and no blooms. Or I've had blooms and I've raced in front of people's paths begging them to sniff me and to pick my branches, and they weren't ready for that. So I've been that. That's what qualifies me to talk about not being it, not being so needy to be noticed, so in need to pick someone else that we hold them back from their path and that we don't walk our own path. So it's a fine thing here. It's a narrow path. Jesus warned us about this. Our path is our narrow path. Nobody is on it with me. It's my path. And it crosses close to people. Sometimes crosses over their path, and that's okay. But I don't want to become a toxic relationship to someone. I don't want to be needy. I don't want to force myself on them. I don't want to need them so much that I can't be me. We're learning this. It's part of being human. It's part of being on this planet. It's part of existing. It's an eternal lesson. It is not just a human lesson, though. There are eternals who have crossed over and obsessed about and taken over other people's paths and muddied it. They have done that. Some of them refuse to be redeemed because they have to have their own way and they have to consume others because they won't go to God for their energy and their replenishment and their lessons. They won't do that. They've cut themselves off. They have to be limited. Chained up, it's called in the Bible. Others screwed it up, but they can be forgiven. They just need to see through what they did and why what they did wrong. Hurt someone. It's not about punishment and judgment. It's about learning the alphabet. Learning the spiritual alphabet so that we can communicate it energetically and by words and by thoughts and by hearts, feelings to others and interact with them without bowling them over, plucking them out of the ground, or being a bush that runs and hides from everybody that's supposed to be walking by, and I've done that too. I've done both. I've been all thorns and I've been all blossoms who's dying to be picked, and I'm none of the above now. God knows what's best, and I'll go with what God knows because I trust him. All right, have a good day and count your blessings, even if you can't touch them. Even if you just see them. There still are blessings to see. Love you. Take care.